Hey, what's up, everyone? We're about to get started right now for my final give me a live stream for May SAT. Hey, everyone! If you took the May SAT, congratulations on getting that done. Let me know how you did, and let me know what thoughts you have. Today, I'm gonna be going mostly over just like I'm gonna be looking at Reddit people reactions and answering your questions. So let me know. Yeah, let me know what you thought. Let me quickly give an update to here. I'm gonna quickly update everyone on Discord that I'm starting right now. Ping YouTube. Okay. And I'm gonna open up Reddit first. And RSCT. All right, I'm looking at your chat. English went well. It wasn't that hard, so that's good. That's good news. Is that how other people? And actually, here, everybody, which version of the test did you take? Did you take the international or did you take US? Let me know when you're actually talking about it because it might be confusing. English went well. That's good. And Zappin, since I've been chatting with you for the last couple weeks, what change did you make to your when you compare yourself to like 2 months ago? What changes did you make to your test taking that like really made a difference? Kiet, new Vietnamese viewer, welcome. All right, let me look at this screen real quick. What's going on here? Should I? You won't be able to read this, so let me. Ugh. Crazy weekend. Let me switch over my screen to. If I do that, then I have to show you. There we go. I'm gonna edit the text real quick. I wonder if they'll let me start taking the digital SAT next year. Up until now, they haven't really permitted me to SAT registration. Like they haven't really permitted me to take the SAT. I'm pretty sure that's gonna remain the same. Yeah. I mean, I could try, but as of now, for this year, they have just not let adults take the test. Adults who are not primarily taking it for college admissions, they just do not allow us. Maybe starting in August they will let me, but kind of wish I could take the test so with you guys so I can like let you know what I think. But that's such is life right now. How was my experience? WRL. I mean, my experience was pretty chill because I was not taking the test. I was on Saturday. What did I do? I had a big farewell party because I'm leaving. Wait, what? He's like 40. He took it today. Really? Is my information outdated? Now, if this guy is if this guy is doesn't really care about his reputation, like it's possible that he might be breaking SAT's agreement, and as a result, he might get banned for future testing, and I would just never. Wait, what? That ain't it. There we go.
Everyone knows how important the SAT exam is, but most people don't realize.
So, are you saying Jake SAT took the test today? Oh, he did. Wait, so does that mean...
And the May SAT is over, so if you took it, congratulations on being done. Now let's talk about how it went. So it definitely seems that we don't have a consensus on whether this was easier than the March SAT or harder than the March SAT.
This is not his opinion.
A lot of people are saying it was harder. Some people are saying it was easier. The second module's super intense, again, as always, to be expected. In math, the fact that in the harder second module, there were a lot of questions with the unknown constants to solve for.
He's summarizing other people's opinions so far, so it seems like he's...
It seems like the only real big surprise here is that students are recognizing questions from past SATs, PSATs, and especially the College Board practice materials. Now, I could tell you from past generations of the SAT, the College Board definitely likes to reward students for using their materials, and you'll find questions that resemble them, but I've never heard this before.
Okay, there you go.
Exact questions from practice.
Thank you for saying that. I thought he was saying something that was totally wrong.
However you think it went for yourself, I hope you end up getting a score in a couple weeks that's higher than whatever you think you got right
Dude,
now.
This digital
Enjoy
SAT rollout is so annoying. Anyway, he didn't take it.
So if you took it, congratulations.
If he had taken it, he would have been a lot more.
So it definitely
he would have
seems
spoken
that we
like.
Don't have a consensus on whether
Yeah, there's like the way he's talking.
SAT
all he's doing is
harder than
summarizing
March
what he's heard
SAT.
from his students.
A lot of people.
I'll move on from that. I'll give you a sec. Idiot tutor Mark Anestis.
Did you take the May digital SAT?
Observations.
I want to give you
I did it. I want to give you 5 quick thoughts.
coming out of game day. These are in no particular order, just 5 things that struck me from my game day experience. Number 1, I was in a room with maybe 16 to 17 other people, and it was only me and one other person that was using a mouse. You should 100% use a mouse with the Bluebook app for the verbal section, for the annotation of the reading and grammar questions. There's no reason to use the little ThinkPad or the touchpad when you're trying to annotate. The mouse is way more efficient, and efficiency is crucially important on these upper modules because you need the time to check over the complicated questions that you mark worthy. So that's thought number 1. Use a mouse on game day. Use a mouse when you practice. So you're as efficient as you can be with annotation. Thought number 2. And this relates to the upper module that I was just talking about and needing more time for. Be ready for somewhat dense science passages. They really threw a lot of science at us this time, and you have to be able to kind of chip away at what they're seeing to then be able to draw conclusions and answer the questions they're asking. The information you need is in there to dig out, but it can take time to do so, and sometimes you have to really think through what you're reading to get the right answer. And if you're not moving efficiently and you're pressed for time, then you're not going to be able to answer some of the harder questions on that upper module. Practice with a lot of science passages. I'm going to post a bunch of new science-based reading.
Wow, 5-minute TikTok videos. TikTok has changed, dude. I could just like, dude, I could just switch to TikTok.
Number 3, do not let yourself double-check questions on your first pass through any given module, whether it be the entry module or the second module. Save that for the end. I use 2 different approaches on the verbal modules today. One of these strategies I really like, and I'm going to share with you later. I think it's a good way to attack questions strategically. One of them I didn't like because it used up way too much time. And then at the end, you're scrambling on questions that you maybe don't want to use.
I need to speed this even more.
This one that I don't like, the advice is simple. Do not let yourself double-check something. Don't be thorough if you look at everything one time. And this is that philosophy I've been preaching for a very long time. Be selective, not sequential.
Why is this caption so small? It's so annoyingly small.
Observation number 4 for me is quite simply, the Bluebook tests are a fair representation of what they're going to give you on game day. Good for them, man. They're giving you questions on the practice test that they're going to ask you on a real thing. I thought it was very fair today, especially on the math side of things. If you do a super deep dive on the Bluebook test on the math, and then you attack the
Do I remember the last question? So I didn't take the test, but apparently this guy took the test, which is like very surprising. It's surprising that he took the test because I wasn't allowed to this year, but apparently he did. Now there's one way I can lie to the College Board and take the test. 'Cause I can pretend that I'm using it for college admissions purposes. They have like a little survey and question. But usually if an adult tries to take the test like if you look at my test, if the College Board looks at my test taking record, they'll see that I took tests like 20 years ago almost 20 years ago, and then there's like a big gap of like there's like a big gap, and then starting like 8 years ago I started taking the test again, right? So they will see all my records. They'll see that I'm definitely an adult and I'm taking it way after college. Like they'll see all that. So it's really weird that. And so what they do is when they see me applying for registering for the test, they kind of flag my account, and then they send up a follow-up email or whatever. Like I forget what exactly they used to do, but there was like a process I had to go through to confirm that yeah, I'm actually not taking it for college purposes. I'm taking it for R&D, research development purposes, and for and for keeping you guys honest, College Board. I mean, I didn't say that directly to them, but but yes, I was trying to, I would be honest about it because I don't want them to ban me. Because if they ban me, then I wouldn't be able to do any tests in the future, and that would be very annoying, right? So yeah, I wonder why he could take the test. Okay, so volume of the pyramid question and the height, okay. And the May math second mod. Okay, so we had repeats. We had repeats on the May math. We might have had repeats on the English as well. It seems like that's the general consensus coming out of this right now. Let's look at what the May International kids are saying. Mine was basically a biology test. Yeah. King Arthur text. Wait, what's the King Arthur text? Did we see that earlier? Or was that from like a previous test? Okay, like a March one. Yeah, dude. College Board doing this it's actually, for me, I get it. It's probably not really good for a PR standpoint, for public relations. But But from a pure test administering standpoint, I think it's probably fine. It won't really damage. It won't really harm the test, the score, like the validity of the score, to have like one or two repeats, because it's going to be impossible to predict which one. So you can't prepare for it. And because you'll probably also forget the question, and sometimes you'll get lucky on the question the first time by choosing the right one, but then because you were primarily relying on luck the first time, you might still get it wrong the second time. So there's all these confounding factors where just because there's a repeat, it doesn't mean you're going to get a better score. So I kind of see from a test taking standpoint, or from a test administrating standpoint, why they would do repeats, because it just reduces the number of questions they have to make. But they could just make more questions, man. I mean, what the heck? That's like their job. Just make more questions. Red Nothingness. Oh no, that was the repeat one. Nova says tips for literal comprehension and quantitative evidence and graph questions. So literal comprehension isn't really a question type. All of the questions have some requirement for literal comprehension. So I'm guessing what that means is probably the main idea question or detail question, like according to the text, what is true about Mother Danbury, right? Or according to or what is the main idea? Okay, so that's the detail question. Okay, so you're actually talking about the detail questions. Yeah. So if you took the Bluebook tests, you'll probably remember maybe like there's like a girl, like some children. Oh no, that's from the old one. Maybe there's like a girl who like is playing in a garden. Yeah. This is a fairly easy one, but it's still illustrative for my strategy. So for a detail question, a lot of times when you can tell it's a detail question if it starts with according to the text, based on the text, and then says something like what is true. Okay. For that kind of question, if you look at the question stem really quick, and the number, by the way, the question number should be around 6, 7-ish. No, a little closer to like 8. It depends on the test. Every module is a little bit different, but it'll be around 8-ish, 9-ish, where that question type starts coming out. So eventually you should have a sort of rhythm in your head where you know which question is going to come up next. But if you don't know that, if you don't have a rhythm yet, then you have to quickly scan the question stem, look at the question itself. It says, according to text, what is true or whatever, right? And if you see that, then you should turn that part of your brain on when you read the passage. When you read the passage, what I do in my lectures when I show the kids how to do it, I just this is with annotation, okay, with pen and paper or with like an iPad on a PDF. Okay, this is something you can do. You can practice on your own first, and then on the real test, you won't really need to do the full annotation version of it. But the annotation version is you just you read the passage, and you kind of circle keywords. Okay, like quick circles, small circles, not like circles that encompass the entire word or phrase, but like quick small circles to identify a list of facts, okay? So you should have fact 1, fact 2, fact 3. Like things that are just true about that character or whatever, right? And so you should be able to number at least, 2 or 3, sometimes up to 5 facts about a character or a thing or a topic of some sort. Once you have that list of keywords circled, you can go back to that question stem, and then you'll just be able to look at that list, and your eyes will be able to go left, right, and then down to the answer choices, and you're looking at the answer choices. And then when you look at the answer choices going left and right, you'll be able to match up against the facts that you circled very quickly. So it should be pretty obvious what the thing is true about. Now, the hard part is that sometimes I forget the wording right now because this is rare. They don't do this all the time. This is pretty rare, but the College Board might sometimes ask, like, what can be inferred about this character? And so they kind of sneak in an inference into the detail question. I forget which question does that, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes they kind of require you to take those. Let's say you circled 5 facts. They require you to take like 2 of them and make like an inference out of them or something like that. And that does make the question a lot harder. Depending on your score, honestly, if you're not even at 750, those question types you don't even need to worry about. If you're not 750, you honestly will probably have to just sacrifice the really tricky inference ones. But the wolf in sheep's clothing inference ones, that's not the actual inference question type. I'm talking about inferences that are snuck into the detail questions. If that happens, honestly, you might have to just surrender on that one. Guess an answer, and then bookmark it and then return. Okay, so go skip and return. But the general inference approach is still, I mean, you just take 2 facts and then you have to say something else that's true about it. So let me see. New question. You got 6:30 on the March. Oh, so Nova just responded to that. Okay, glad that helps. 6:30 on the March, read nothingness. Have no idea what to do to break 700. 6 out of 7, info and idea. 6 out of 7, craft and structure. 4 out of 7, expressions. Oh, expression is it's interesting. Okay. 4 out of 7 expression for the March SAT. That means that you probably, okay, read nothingness. If I'm saying something, I'm going to have to make some assumptions about you because I don't know your struggle, okay? But when I start speaking, if I'm making the wrong assumption about you, because, I don't know you, correct my assumption. I'm going to just assume you're the most typical kind of student, okay? So read nothingness, I'm assuming that if you review a practice test, like you go into the College Board website and you turn the answers off, you hide the answer explanations, and if you review a practice test with unlimited time, that you will agree with the following statement. The last 5 questions of the module are really easy. Okay. One more time, the statement is, the last 5 questions of the module are really easy. I'm assuming that you would agree with that, okay? So what are the last 5 questions? It's usually the very last 3 to 5 are what's called the expression questions. Oh, no, sorry. Synthesis questions. Zappin. Okay, Zappin is front-running me right now, but Zappin, you are right, just to tell you. The last question type is the synthesis question type, which is the student takes notes, and you have to choose the sentence that the student wants to, that accurately synthesizes information from the notes to express the thing that the student wants to express. Okay, that's the synthesis questions. And right before that is logical transitions. And logical transitions is like the however, the nevertheless, the therefore, the as a result kind of questions. Okay. Well, you got a 4 out of 7 on expressions. And if you agreed that the last question type is the easiest, you know what you did wrong? You spent too much time on the hard questions. So you're trying to break a 700, right? Let me go and find a comment I wrote recently on SAT. because I think just having it in front. Oh yeah, I wrote it. This is the last one I wrote. It was a week ago. So let me zoom in a little so you can read it clearer. This is the OP, and the OP was told me that he was aiming for, or she was aiming for 1300. It really helps to psychologically remember that you actually don't need to get all questions right. Like if you're aiming for a 700, for this particular student I was talking to online, I was talking about the 650. But if you are aiming for a 700, you can actually get in the range of around 8-ish questions wrong. Okay, 8-ish questions wrong, 8 to 10. Depends on the questions. So for module 1, that's maybe 1 or 2. Because if at the 700 range, you should be getting close to perfect on the module 1, actually, by the way. Right? No, around 7, it's around 730 or ish. But okay, so yeah, you should be around getting like 1 or 2. 1 or 2 wrong on module 1, and then maybe around 5 to 7, 8-ish on module 2. Again, be aware these are just rough estimates, okay? But once you know that, then you realize something. Actually, there are a couple questions on the test that are beyond your ability, at least right now, right? And as long as you have the humility to accept that like actually within time constraints, you really won't be able to get some of these right. That they are, they're beyond your league, right? They're out of your league. So in that in that situation, what you should do is accept that out of all these questions, some of them are too hard for you, and just permit yourself to guess and move on from the questions. Okay? People talk about time management as if it's something you can control by looking at the clock. It's not. The time management issues primarily come from time management is not some neutral activity where every question is treated the same. Okay, time management, the problem primarily comes it's not evenly distributed across 54 questions or 27 questions in a module. Okay, the problem is not evenly distributed. The problem usually comes down to 1 or 2 questions. It might have literally been only question 12, just question 12, that ruined the rest of your entire module. Because we're talking about like what, a 32-minute interval? That's so small. You can ruin the entire module just by obsessing about question 12. And question 12 could have taken you 3.5 minutes before you finally moved on. But once you realized that actually you got to question 15 and you noticed that you only had 7 minutes left, you were like, holy crap, what happened? And then you start rushing, and then from question 15 through 27, you're just rushing, and you're feeling this insane pressure. And when that happens, you start coming unhinged, unglued, okay? And all of the habits that you built up over the last couple of months of practicing, all the techniques that you learned, they start going out the window when you start rushing like that. And it's all because maybe question 12, maybe question 9 and 12, maybe question 1, 9, and 12 together. But regardless, it's usually a couple questions, just a very few number of questions where you actually over-invested time because you got obsessive, you got clingy, you started thinking, I really need to get this one right. But no, you don't. You're aiming for a 700, man. You're aiming for a 700. You don't need to get that right? You can skip and return. So read the passage, read the question, make a prediction, try to match. Okay, your match fails. Then do process elimination. Try to go through process elimination. Try to eliminate all. Okay, you can't eliminate all of them. Oh, you can't eliminate 3. So you're maybe 50-50 at this point. Read the passage one more time, knowing what you know. Read the question stem one more time and make a prediction. Okay, make a prediction one more time. This is the read prediction. you still can't get it, do not spend any more time on it. Just guess, bookmark, skip and return. Okay. So that is the main issue. I think so. I gave my general advice for you. Now you added a curveball at the very end, where so I'll come back to that curveball after I answer some of the other people's questions here. Ayan, what's up? Unfortunately, I can't really predict your score because you got -5 on the reading writing. All I'll say is, because it depends on the easiness, the ease level or difficulty level of the questions you got wrong. But assuming that you got only 5 difficult questions wrong, what the College Board considers 5, I haven't seen the curve be more forgiving. So I would say that's around a 750. If you only got difficult questions wrong for reading and writing, and then if you only got easy questions wrong for number 5, so 5 questions wrong, but you only got easy questions wrong, I would probably predict something like a 720. So I would guess you're between 720 and 750. But I'm not a supercomputer, so I just have my gut feeling about what it should be. So let me know if I'm right or wrong later. Drop a comment on this later on when you get the score, and let me know if my prediction was correct. But that's my guess, somewhere between 720 and 750. If you only got hard questions wrong, you should be getting closer to a 750. Graph questions. No, yeah, I don't know if you've noticed with the way I take if you actually have noticed the way I solve the graph questions, but I treat it like any other question. But you'll notice what's unusual about me is I always just read the question fully. I read the passage fully. So. Graph questions are a little tricky because graph questions are the ones that feels like there's many more options of how to do it. And by the way, just to be clear, I might be calling them graph questions, but the College Board calls them quantitative evidence questions. I also call them data questions or infographic questions. Okay, so that's all referring to the same thing: data questions, infographic questions, quantitative evidence questions, okay, graph or table questions. All right, there we go. So getting that bit of vocabulary out of the way. So data questions feel like they can be kind of approached multiple different ways, and I actually think that's kind of the trap here that makes things a lot more complicated. Now, my advice to you may not make a lot of sense if you don't generally follow my strategy, but if you watch my videos, you'll notice what my strategy is. It's a little unusual from what you would hear on TikTok or YouTube. I just read the passage. That's all I do. I read the thing slowly, okay? And you guys don't want to do that. And the reason you don't want to do that is because you guys are bad at reading, right? But actually, you can't improve the reading until you just force yourself to read the thing, okay? And you force yourself to fall flat on your face, and then you realize that you can't come up with a prediction to the question, right? That will start slowly rewiring your brain so that you read better. So then, what you do is you read the passage, you look at the question stem. You make a prediction based on the question stem, and then you match that prediction to ABCD. You don't have to read all of ABCD, especially if they're long answer choices. You're just looking for a match. You're looking for something that has like synonyms of your prediction in your head, right? You're looking for a match. And by matching, you can save a lot of time because a lot of kids their eyes are going, like if you look at most people solving a reading test, their eyes will go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, if you watch me solve a reading test, I'm primarily left, slowly, right, and then oftentimes I don't even look left again. I don't even look left again. I just solve it because I already know what I know is the answer. I might just do if it's a longer answer choice, I might need to just clean up the full answer choice. Like some parts of it might not be fully part of my prediction, so I might have to go back to the text, look left, look right again. But the number of times that I look left, right, the number of times I oscillate compared to you guys is probably way lower. Like you guys are probably in the range of like 15, 20 times per question, whereas I'm probably like twice. You know, so it's just like exactly this is what Zappin is talking about, and that's exactly what you want. You want that experience of just being able to match it right away. So that's my general strategy. Let's talk about data questions. So for data questions, what do? I start with the title of the graph or the table, and sometimes the graph or table is super easy. So the title gives me the entire idea of the graph, and then I look at the x-axis and the y-axis, or the header row and the header column, right? And then I sort of frame the information that's in that table or that graph, okay? And if it's an easy graph, it will take me less than 5 seconds. If it's a hard graph, it can sometimes take me 15, 20, 30 seconds just to figure out what the hell is going on. Right, because then for the hard graphs, there's gonna be like a legend, like a little key, where there's multiple bar colors or like multiple dot colors or whatever, and then weirdly, for me, on a hard graph, right, on an easy graph, I would expect the x-axis to be time, but the way that this graph is set up, it's in the key. In the key, there's like a before condition and then like an after condition number 1 and then after condition number 2. And it's like, you know, so the hard graphs are a little tricky to suss out, right? So for those, it will take me sometimes like 20, 30 seconds just to figure out what the structure of the graph is. And then I read the passage, and now that I have the structure of the graph in my head, I can read the passage, and every once in a while, you'll notice my eyes going up and down, up and down. And the reason my eyes go up and down while I'm reading the passage, I haven't even looked at the question stem or the answer choices yet, okay? I haven't even looked at the right side yet. I'm looking at the passage, and I'll see keywords that remind me of words from the graph. And you'll notice that I look up and down really quickly, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of building a network of knowledge around this graph where the passage is helping me understand the graph. And then usually by the time I'm finishing the passage, I already know what the conclusion's supposed to be. All right? And then I will probably have read, if it's a hard question, I might have read that entire graph and passage in about 1 minute. 1 minute, that sounds scary, a full minute for just the graph, for just reading the thing. But once that happens, you look at the question stem, you look at the answer choices, and then you realize that the answer choices are like 4 lines each. They're fucking long, right? But you already know the answer. So you don't read all 4 of them. You know that something has to increase and something else has to decrease. You already know that. Let's call it, I don't know, let's call it like the size has to increase and the metabolic rate has to decrease or something like that, right? So I'm just gonna look for words like size or weight or mass, right? I'm gonna look for words like that, and I'm gonna look for words like increase, and I'm gonna look for something about metabolic rate decreasing or metabolism decreasing. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. So how long does it take me to do that part where I'm just matching my answer? Maybe like 10 seconds. And just reread the entire, and then I have to reread the entire answer choice to make sure it's 100% correct. And that adds another like maybe another 10 seconds. So then I'm finished at 1 minute and 20 seconds, right? That's the way I solve data questions. And if you want to confirm how I solve it, go back and watch how I did it on like Bluebooks 1 through 6, and see if I'm actually talking. Like, can I actually walk the walk? Am I just talking the talk, right? Just go confirm it, see how it works, and see how it feels. You'll notice that it's actually not that slow. It's not that slow if you actually factor in the fact that I'm skipping the answer choices, basically. Yeah, so that's it for that. Let me see. Zappin, I'm really happy that you could actually match a couple times on your own. That's really good. That's a good sign of progress, that you are growing, that you are progressing. Yeah, and I'm looking at. Yeah, and by the way, I'll make a side comment on what Nova just said. that I always push for improving reading comprehension instead of just the tactics, and I yeah, which is the opposite of it's the opposite attitude of what gets thrown around on Reddit, which is the SAT only measures your SAT skill. And I actually disagree with that 100%. Like, no. The SAT measures your actual reading and writing skills and your actual geometry and, algebra skills if you let it, okay? If you just rely on your reading and writing and your geometry, algebra, and statistics, if you just if you trust that the test will reward you for improving those skills, it will. Like that's what it measures. It's actually a very good test. Like if you told any single one of your high school teachers, even the most amazing one, right? If you told any one of your high school teachers to create a 54 question module, actually math is a little easier to make questions for, so I'll change that. But if you asked any of your high school teachers to write a 54 question English test in the style of the SAT, they will not be able to write it They will not be able to write it in a way that isn't gameable in some way. The SAT is actually fairly resistant, not 100%, fairly resistant to gaming with tips and tricks. And it does reward you for just having good reading, writing skills. Not writing so much as just grammar, but still a little bit of writing skills and reading skills, right? It does reward you for that. And why is that good news? It means that if you just work on the reading, writing, it will not only benefit your SAT, it'll benefit you in college readings. It will benefit you on the GRE, on GMAT, the LSAT, on everything else you do in the future. It just will benefit you. So I hope you actually take this opportunity, especially if you're not like a junior yet, you're like a sophomore. Take the opportunity to use the practice tests to actually improve your reading. And in school too, whenever you find a reading that feels a little too hard to understand, don't give up. Don't give up. Use the skills that you learned studying for the SAT, right? Use those skills that you learned on the reading itself at school. Push through and see if you can actually parse those sentences and figure out what the paragraphs are even talking about and stuff like that. And if you can predict what the questions will be in your English class test or whatever, right? Or sometimes your history test or whatever, right? Figure out work your way through the readings, the hard readings in your school, and that will then, it's like a virtuous cycle. The SAT helps the English, and then the English will help the SAT again. When you come around to see a junior year, your SAT score will just be better without you even trying. It's just, don't neglect the challenge. If you take on the challenge every day at school, and if you take on the challenge every time you take the SAT, that you actually don't rely too much on just these little statistical tricks, your reading round will get better, and you will just get a better score. So Ayan, I actually didn't take the test because as far as I understand, I am not allowed to. Turns out there is a tutor on TikTok who took the test, and I'm kind of baffled by it. So I will probably have to try registering for the August test. I don't know if I can do the June test because I think I'm still traveling during that. Wait, hang on. Where will that be during June? Let me see. June 1st. Where am I gonna be? Oh, I'm gonna be in. Ah, dude, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Hawaii at the time. I'm trying to figure out. So can I? You know what? I'm gonna try registering for it. But from the official policy is that I'm not allowed to register. So SAT. Okay, I'm gonna just quickly, I'll just hide it like this. There we go. Oh, wrong screen. There we go. Okay. So, just quickly checking if I could even register the SAT. Oh yeah, that's true. It is a clickbait title. Yeah, I remember thinking. About it. I actually, I meant to put quotation marks on it, and then I forgot. Believe me. Let's see. Choose your preferred test date. But that explains why multiple people asked me what I thought about the SAT. Okay, so I will fix that title for the next version of the stream. Can I register? Pretty sure the policy is still in place. Look at my sad reading math scores. Where's my where did I register? Huh? Oh, over here. My bad. I'm being stupid. Okay. I've never live streamed myself taking the ACT, and it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible for me to do. Like, it's definitely on the table. Oh no! Is it just gonna ask me a bunch of random personal questions? Okay, I can't do this right now. Hang on. It's kind of annoying that they don't let me use. What's going on? May 2025. Their interface is kind of stupid where I can select no longer in high school, but I cannot unselect a graduation date, which is like really dumb. So if I'm a junior, I would be graduating in 2025, right? Yeah. I don't even know what to do with this dumb thing. All right. So, no, I won't laugh at you guys complaining on a test. I will sympathize and smile about you guys complaining on the test. and then I will try to let you know, maybe subtly, that you probably made some mistakes there. All right. For the registration, it's going to take a long time because they have this insanely long questionnaire. I'm not going to deal with it right now, so I'm going to put that out of the way. Let's. I only have 5 more minutes. I am pretty tired, so I'm just gonna wrap up with whatever questions you guys have for me, and then and then move on, and then wrap up this stream. I mean, we need practice test 1 through 4 replaced. I get the sentiment. I unfortunately can't confirm or disconfirm that idea from my perspective because I haven't taken the real tests, so hard for me to say. But Ion is not alone in feeling that the tests are very different from practice test 1 through 4. So, dude, main thing is I do think quantity in this case is better. Just having more stuff to practice will be better. It looks like there's no other questions for me, so I'm gonna wrap up now. The final call for questions. What's your question? Yeah, yeah. As an adult, it happens. Yeah, like it's a little annoying to do that as an adult. Okay. Zappin, or not Zappin, G. I mean, that's not hypothetical. That's true for you, right? So can you give me the breakdown of your craft and structure, your information ideas, the 4 main subsections of the reading and writing test? Can you tell me how you did on those? Because that will give me a lot more information on your performance. If you did well, if you are a good reader, you should be pretty high on information and ideas. You should be highest on information and ideas, and probably second highest on craft and structure if you were a lifelong reader. Yes, your life is flashing before your eyes, and now everything is bleeding out into a red nothingness. Why have I not read more in my life? What am I? All I'll say is, in today's world, it is very easy to entertain yourself with things that are much easier to do than reading, like little clips, salacious little clips, attention-grabbing little clips on TikTok, on YouTube, or whatever. And my hope is not that you never do that, because it's unrealistic for you to not do that. My hope is that you kind of realize that you're really being fed a lot of sugar. You're not really getting nutrients. You're not getting vitamins. When you feed yourself with that kind of content, and sugar's not evil by itself. You can have some sugar. I have sugar all the time. I had a lot of sugar this last weekend, and feel very heavy and fat right now. But like, as long as you realize you feel like, as long as you can tell that you're not being fed, you might want to reach out for something that you haven't done in a long time, or you haven't ever done really, which is just pick up a book. Pick up a book about that YouTube video that you were watching on like the Roman Empire or whatever. You know, just buy a classic. Buy like a book that hundreds people have been reading for hundreds of years, and work your way through it. And maybe buy a modern version that's a little easier or whatever. But like, just buy a book. Go to the bookstore, and of course, buying a book involves like previewing a book, which the bookstore is great for. Online ordering is not so great for, but like, because online ordering is very easy to get distracted. But if you're at the bookstore, I mean, you're just surrounded by books. Just open them read a couple pages, see if you can understand it, see if your reading levels at the level, if the information, if the back cover and the front cover and the book flaps, you know, if the blurbs, if they entice you, do they make you want to read it? You know, go and touch the books, smell the books, right? And you'll be able to like rekindle, like you'll be able to. You can't really make up for like a decade of not reading, but you can begin to just start reading. You know, you can start reading something you like. And if you ever notice, kids who read a lot of hard books in high school, they didn't start off reading a bunch of hard books in middle school. They started off reading like shit books, dude. Like I don't know what the shit books of this era is, you know, but like Captain Underpants or like Animorphs or like Goosebumps are from my generation. But like you're just reading to read. You're not really you're reading to be entertained actually. When you see these kids reading stuff like Dostoevsky or like pretending to read Nietzsche or whatever and they're in high school, it's because they started in middle school reading garbage. They read just whatever they wanted to read. So don't try to play catch up by reading something that's utterly dense and boring right now. Read something that's fun. Read something that's interesting. Read something that's good to you. And that could just be it could be some mystery, you know. It could be like a mystery story. It could be sci-fi. By the way, mystery and sci-fi are not dumb. But like, what I'm saying is don't contain yourself to like literary or philosophical classics, is what I'm saying. Read whatever calls to you. I still didn't get an answer from G about the answers breakdown, so I'm just gonna say what I have in mind. So G, I'm just gonna assume you have high craft and structure. Oh, sorry. You have the highest on information and ideas and second highest on craft and structure, and expression of ideas should be third highest, and standard English convention is the lowest. If that's you, that is classic read a lot pattern. So what you need to do is just learn some grammar, dude. You gotta learn grammar, and you need to learn to slow down on sentences, not just getting the gist, not just getting the idea, but really breaking down like how the sentence is constructed and what it's emphasizing and stuff like that. And once you work on those skills, you'll be able to bring your score up pretty quickly. So when I was your age, the test was actually broken into 3 parts. There was math, and there was reading, but there was writing separately, and each of them were 800 each. So the total score that you could get was a 2400. 800 plus 800 plus 800 is 2400, right? I had a perfect 800 and a perfect math 800. Sorry, I had a perfect 800 on the math and the reading, but I had a 700 on the writing. And the reason for that is the same reason that drives G's question, which is how come I'm getting a low score despite reading and loving reading my whole life? It's because of grammar, man. I did not know grammar when I was your age. I didn't know dangling modifiers. I kind of knew subject-verb agreement at least, but all these other grammar concepts were just like really new to me, and I didn't study for the SAT really when I got my score. I just sort of took it with a couple practice tests, and my lack of grammar knowledge kind of ruined my score. I probably if I took like a month-long course, I would have been able to get a 2400, but yeah, I just didn't know the grammar. Very annoying, actually, in retrospect, because I wish I could just say I got a perfect score, but now I have that 700 grammar on my record, no matter what. Okay, yeah, and Zappin is like, check out the bell jar. I will be reading the bell jar. Bell jar is a fairly easy read. Bell jar is a fairly easy read, so I would say, I mean, it's not the easiest, but it's pretty achievable for anyone who's been if you're scoring in like the 700 range, I feel like this bell jar should be fine for you. So if you're in the 650-ish range, bell jar should be. You might crawl a little bit through bell jar just because there are certain passages that get a little harder. But I feel like overall, a 650 is fine for bell jar too. All right, guys. That's it for my stream. I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna have another stream in about 7 hours, aiming at the European kids. So after that, I'm gonna be taking a 2-minute break, a 2-week break from streams, except for the bell jar stream for the book club stream. All other YouTube activity is gonna be on hiatus for 2 weeks while I'm traveling through America to visit family, friends, and some clients. So I will be, and the time zone situation, like it gets too messed up. So 2-week break, and then I'll be back to Hawaii first, and I'll also be doing vacation there, but I'm gonna start streaming again when I'm in Hawaii. And then I'll be back in Korea in May, and that's when I will have a modified streaming schedule to match my summer teaching. Yeah, my summer teaching load is pretty intense, so my streaming schedule will be modified during June. So if you want to keep up with like the specific details of what's happening, come join my Discord server, chat with me. Otherwise, you'll see the streams when you see them. They will come up on your YouTube feed. Hopefully, if you're subscribing and if you have the notifications turned on, they will come up. So that's it for me, guys. Good. Congratulations on finishing Congratulations on finishing the SAT this time around, guys. My hope for you is that you were able to take everything you've been learning the last week or 2 or 4 or 6 or however many weeks you've been studying for this, okay? And you were able to actually convert them into practice, you were actually able to execute them, right? The plan that was in your head because you learned all this stuff, as long as you did that, I mean, you did an honest day's work. That's the best you can expect from yourself. So good luck with your scores, and good luck with your ongoing learning. Until next time, I'll see you. Keep on learning. Keep on growing. Peace.